Yo, YouTube, Young Ramon, back in the zone, man. I got my boy.
King Raw, what's up?
BMP.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. Today, this is the Clutch City Council. Today, we reviewing Thor, Love and Thunder. This the verdict, this the review, man. So we here to talk about it, man. Let's start it off. How'd y'all boys feel about it, man?
Well, I mean, let's just do good stuff, bad stuff off the top, just because you know where my mind goes usually.
Right.
So let's start it off with some what's on the good side. What do you got?
I gave it an 8.
You gave it a solid 8.
I gave it a solid 8.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was a very enjoyable watch. You know, it was fun for me. I enjoyed the music heavily. I thought the soundtrack played really well along with the choreography of the movie, and it fit the tone of, you know, every song fit the tone of the point it was being played. You know, Welcome to the Jungle in the beginning during the first fight, I thought it synced up perfectly. I did like some of the humor. I know it was a lot and very overwhelming at points, but I thought some of it was funny. You know, I like the goats. I thought the goats were funny.
You like the goats?
I like the goats. I thought the goats were funny.
I see.
Gore, amazing villain. But yeah, this movie I thought it was good. You know, it's a very solid movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, an 8. I do think Ragnarok was the better movie, but I enjoyed watching this one more.
Right.
And that's overall everything good about it.
Yeah.
What about for you?
For me, I thought it was a solid movie too. I did like the soundtrack. It felt like a rock movie, and it felt like they understood the direction of which they wanted to go with the movie. I feel like
That's our fourth member.
Right, the fourth member, Mozzie. I felt like they understood the direction. Marvel just does in majority of the movies. I feel like they have direction of the movie. Like they have a theme.
Well, they said it was a romantic comedy is what they said. So I mean,
the romance in it didn't really hit me. Like I didn't.
But in romance,
but I can see why they say that. I
is the thing.
But like in 50 First Dates, I can understand that. You know what I'm saying? You seen that?
It wasn't fully rom-com. Yeah, I seen that.
Crazy Rich Asians, I thought was a great movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't fully rom-com, and then it wasn't fully just straight up comedy. So it was a hybrid, and it didn't do it as good as like.
But I felt like it had more comedy than romance. The romance fell short because of the comedy.
Well, the romance felt very forced.
Romance was super forced.
That's what I'm saying. It has so much comedy in there when it's time to be serious. And almost like
already critiquing.
It's like Thor. Remember when he got back with Jane and shit and they kissed? It's like this nigga's still trying to joke and be like funny and shit like that. You know what I mean?
What are you talking about?
They're on the boat going to the place that has no color, right?
Yeah.
And they finally kiss and shit like that. But in the midst of that conversation, Thor is still like they're having like a funny back and forth, but it's still supposed to be romantical. Mm-hmm. But it was just like I don't know. It just didn't feel like.
It's not believable. It wasn't believable, and especially when they try to force the whole montage that they had between Thor and Jane down your throat right before that, or I can't remember where it was in the movie.
No, I think it was a little early in the movie because it was an exposition of like where like their relationship.
How they broke up.
How they broke up. We just don't know if it happened during Thor 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I'm sure Thor 2, right? It had to be.
Were they broken up in Thor 2?
No, he saved her in Thor 2. So they
just had to happen after.
They broke up after, dog.
Right. So I'm like, all right, sure, that happened, whatever, right? But
again, like through a montage, I'm supposed to care that they haven't seen each other in 8 years. I just don't. They haven't seen each other since Thor 2, and that was before Civil War. You know what I mean? That was before Endgame, Infinity War, before all this big stuff happened. Even Ragnarok, which is supposed to change his character.
Right.
So I don't believe it in the movie.
Yeah, I just felt like even when Jane first seen Thor and shit like that, it felt like they were gonna, you know, be together somewhat. You know what I mean? Or like they still wanted that relationship to happen. So it wasn't surprising that it happened. It was just.
And it was the central theme of Thor's character arc. The only reason Jane was there was so that he could get somebody to love and then have meaning in his life that he didn't have meaning before.
Well, you know what, let's not, because we're saying a lot, right? Let's just stick on the good for right now, because I just don't want to sidetrack and make it all jumpy and shit. But as far as good, it's still a solid movie. Visually, I thought it was still good. I know people are shitting on the special effects and shit, but I thought majority of the effects were fire, so that's that.
Yeah.
Visually it was good. I thought the action was there, it was passable. The story, you know what I mean? But mainly that's the things that I did like. What did you like?
As far as what I liked the bad guy. I thought Gore was great.
I like Gore too.
I thought he was the boogeyman for real. I liked his powers. I liked his story. Kristen Bell did a good job as far as performance. Valkyrie did her thing. Jane, I even like Jane in her fight scenes. I thought they were the coolest fight scenes in the movie.
I did too. Like,
but that's not that high of a mark when all the other fight scenes weren't that great type shit.
No, 100%. Yeah, like I felt like, especially with Thor, he was just running up. It was almost like hack and slashing in Star Wars. They'll walk up and just, you know what I mean?
Nothing cool with the thunder.
No, I love the fight. I love the fight with the kids though. The kids I thought was super creative. That give all the kids the power.
I didn't mind that, to be
And they
honest
were
with you.
fucking
That shit was
shit
kind
up,
of funny.
dude.
That shit was funny.
That shit was funny, and it was definitely more lenient towards the comedy aspect of it.
Yeah.
Versus the cool visuals of it.
Yeah, the one little girl with the fucking wand cutting people in half and shit. I thought that was cool.
Right.
I could give you that. It was a cool scene, not cool action. It's kids fighting.
No, yeah. It wasn't like mind blowing action. Like No Way Home had like mind blowing action.
It wasn't mind blowing action the way like good action should be Shang-Chi type shit. It was
right.
It was comedy action where it's kids going against these guys, and that's why it's funny.
Yeah,
because they're kids.
That's I could see them being in the room and be like, yo, let's have the kids fight. That should be funny.
Yeah.
The whole writing team was just like that in the think tank. They're like, what's funny, bro?
I thought
what's
it worked.
funny?
I thought it worked.
2 goats. Put it down.
Oh,
they scream.
He liked the goat. Samosa liked the goat. I didn't like the goats.
And the goats.
The goats were there for comedy.
I guess at first.
Out of all of the comedy, they hit one joke off the goats. That's it.
The very beginning. I guess the very beginning when they got introduced, I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, it was funny.
The very end, they hit the goat comedy one where they crashed into the moon. That was the funny.
Oh no, that shit was
other
funny.
than that, the goats were annoying.
Sure.
Let's see. Jane was cool. Thor, he was cool as far as his character arc. I thought he was cool in Ragnarok, and they really made him the dumb brute motherfucker. They made him that guy.
Right.
So I don't know how I feel about that. I don't like it like that, to be honest. The suits were cool. I like the suits, and like I said, I like the Mjolnir coming back.
Thor
together and coming back.
Or Jane in Thor's suit. She looked badass though.
No, I like the suit on her.
I like
but
the suit on her.
Don't bite it beat for beat. Don't bite it.
I mean, it was like beat for beat from the comics though.
I get that.
From her comics, I guess,
but don't bite
like,
it beat for beat. Even Thor was like, let me.
So you saying the original creators that made that comic shouldn't have done that?
Yeah.
Yeah. yeah, I agree. But like, I mean, it's comic accurate, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, the helmet changes it. The hair.
I like the fur. I like the one with the fur.
No, Thor shit. Yeah. That's
See, and that's my point. Thor changed his look from the first one.
No,
too.
yeah, different looks in this
shit. He's not even doing that look anymore.
Yeah, nigga had an eye patch. Nigga got an eye bag.
Oh,
he got
we didn't even talk about the Omnipotent City.
Oh no, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
But that was good. I like Omnipotent City.
No, that shit was fire.
Visuals,
Fire.
visually great.
All the gods and shit. See that was cool.
I like Zeus in the way they portray him because he has actually a dick.
He's always a dick. There's no iteration where he's not.
No, there is. There's a couple of them.
Like what? The fucking first when
some games
that anime Blood of Zeus. Zeus was a good guy in that anime.
Yeah. But he was fucking all these bitches having kids, and the bitch was mad.
That boy's cold.
I mean, he's a guy, bro. Why y'all bitches getting mad?
He's the one.
He need a fuck bitch. He need variety.
No, I did like
bro, Zeus. You know?
I like the scene where he came out where he fucking Thor was at the bottom and he was like, "Let me borrow your weapon." He just steps out. He goes, "Oh," with the skirt, lifts that shit up and starts walking down the stairs.
Yeah. He's real prissy. He's real prissy and shit like that. Russell Crowe did his thing too.
He did his thing.
So,
I'm not sure about the ending scene.
The dumpling guys was great. Yeah, the dumpling guy was funny as fuck. They had funny beats in here. It was just that, there was a point where it's almost like too much comedy. Because it felt like every line or every gesture they were doing was for the point of being funny. You know what I'm saying?
Almost every 3 seconds.
Every 3 seconds, something was intentionally funny, so it might hit or it might not.
And most of them didn't hit for me, but that's just me. Some people might like it better.
Right.
And that's it for the good.
Yeah, pretty much good. But as far as bad, well, you gave it a 6.
Well, you want to cut it?
No, just keep it rolling.
Alright, fuck it. So yeah, I give it a 6. Let's get into some bad stuff that we already kind of touched on As far as the arc, let's talk about the arc for Thor. His arc was the same arc he had in Ragnarok and the same arc he had in Infinity War and Endgame. It's him trying to find himself.
Possibly Thor 1 and 2.
How many times are we doing this? How many times is this guy gonna live 1,500 years and not know who he is?
Right.
Bro, you're Thor.
Right.
How many people have you killed? Just keep doing that.
How many accomplishments do you have, bro?
Exactly.
Like,
How many
I get that he
kingdoms,
lost a
worlds?
lot and shit like that, but just the fact that I think his arc was done a little sloppy in this, especially the conclusion of it. Because they introduced Jane. What they did was take Jane and replace them with the Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought this was gonna be Guardians of the Galaxy team up with Thor and
Guardians
Jane,
of Asgard
I
or
guess.
whatever.
Or
As Guardians of the Galaxy.
As Guardians of the Galaxy, right? But that never happened because we got fucking Jane and her storyline
Yeah.
to complement Thor's storyline. But at the end, it doesn't really, it's not fleshed out because, well, one, Jane dies, and then two, you're telling me that Thor's fulfilled because he took Gore's daughter, and
Right.
and now he feels fulfilled. He found himself.
Right. If
In,
you don't know,
in parenthood.
in parenthood,
You know
now
what
I
I'm
have a
saying?
purpose.
You know, right. Like,
I don't know
guess,
what I'm gonna
bro.
do after she's gone.
You got responsibility now. That's about it.
That's
You know
it.
what I mean?
Get a pet, bro.
You got liability.
You got liability. But yeah, as far as Jane was only there just to serve as Thor's story, and that's it. If
That's
Thor
it.
wasn't going through this, Jane wasn't here.
Right.
And
I'd rather see Chris Pratt. than
I'd
Vin
rather
Diesel.
see Chris Pratt, or I'd
Or
rather
Bradley
even
Cooper.
see Jane when she's actually fucking needed.
Facts.
You know
And,
what I mean?
Well, talk about how she got her powers and shit like that. Like, you felt like when Mjolnir calls her, do you think
Oh,
that was
right.
like
So let's
Good?
talk about how she gets introduced, and we immediately know that she's got stage 4 cancer. And then in the book, she reads something, or actually something in her ears goes towards like the book, Asgardian book, and then inside she reads like health, stamina, speed,
oh yeah,
type
because
of
she
all
just
the stats.
all the
well,
stats. She's like, I'm about to get fixed, and then she goes over, picks up the hammer.
to New Asgard. She
New
picks up the hammer.
Asgard, she gets yoked and stuff, but then it's actually killing her still.
Right. So the
So
whole
the
thing,
didn't do anything.
right. It was just kind of like it was for nothing,
It was for nothing.
really.
And she was there for 2 days. As far as
as far as a Thor, yeah,
as far
or
as
like
a superhero,
yeah.
that didn't need to happen at all. 2 days?
2
What'd you
days.
say?
Then you fucking died.
And you died.
You're not
so
gonna be known in the history books or nothing.
nothing.
You
Just
got a statue?
You barely made it to Valhalla.
Bro,
You
just
got
the
lucky.
bitch that took the fucking hammer from New Asgard. You fucking hoe. You stealing this shit. You stealing this shit. You stealing this shit. Unearned. It didn't
what
feel
else?
deserved. You know what I'm saying?
So we talked about the comedy. We talked about
Well, as far as things we don't
Jane,
like.
As far as things we
Everything
don't
was
like.
really rushed. I also noticed this morning that, and this is actually kind of bothering me on this shit, bro. I'm serious. Like,
Changing your rank.
the whole fucking, no, I'm keeping it at 8.
I
But
think it
still
should
noticed
change
that
your
shit.
ranking because of this, though. It's just another bad thing, but I guess.
Through the movie, there were 3 points. They were trying to figure out a catchphrase for this girl, right? She started with some stupid ones, then in Omnipotent City or whatever, they started running over some more, and they were all bad. But then at
She's
the
like,
end,
eat hammer and shit.
yeah, eat my hammer.
But
Hammer.
she said
She's
it.
like
she
hammer
said it
time
at the
and
end of
shit.
Thor, though.
That's the thing. She whispers it in Thor's ear.
No, but remember when she beat Gore?
She said something,
She said like, "Take my hammer," and then fucking.
but that's
did
not
that.
what she said to Thor. Because she whispers it to Thor, and Thor's like, yeah, that's the best one of it
Maybe
all.
you didn't hear it.
But we never hear it. We never get that catchphrase.
But does it matter? Is it
Well, here's the thing. To me, it feels like
Can you check the
a
time?
joke without a punchline, you know? It feels like they couldn't think of anything to fill that spot, so they just didn't say anything
Right.
and hope nobody would notice.
Well,
I don't know. I just felt like it wasn't that important. As a
Well, no, I was telling him that. I was like, I felt like, well, one, it was for satire reasons. Like, they just wanted, every superhero needs a catchphrase. She needs a new superhero. They're going to play around with that. So I just felt like it was just not that heavily, like, it just didn't need to be concluded, I guess. But
But if you're going to put it
If
in
you-
there, finish it.
finish it.
Finish it. Then either that or just don't put it in there.
It'd have been some
I don't
whack ass
think they should have
catchphrase
put
too.
Jane in there at all.
At all.
Oh, yeah.
This whole thing
Right.
should have been avoided.
Honestly, I think Jane was a cash out for, like, obviously the
Lady Thor.
like, yeah. Well, one, I think it's pandering, and two, I think people who are really into the Thor mythology and comics and shit, they're like, oh, Lady Jane and shit, like I'm gonna go see that shit. Like, nah. Y'all rushed that
for
shit.
what she did in the movie, her action scenes were cool.
Her action was
As
cool,
far as
but her story is
Her
trash.
whole reason to be in the movie is not
Trash.
good. Not good. Story wise,
So we didn't like Thor's arc. We didn't like Jane's arc. We didn't like.
the story.
And I would say you said it too when we after we seen the movie was the stakes in there because Korg gets fucking killed,
Right.
but he doesn't get killed. And then fucking Valkyrie, she gets fucking stabbed, but she doesn't get stabbed.
But she's good 2
You know what I'm
seconds
saying?
later.
Yeah.
It's not.
There's no real threat.
There's no real threat. I never felt like even the kids were in that much of a danger. they got
Right.
taken.
Honestly, yeah.
It felt like a light Marvel movie. It felt like a light Marvel movie.
No, it was lighthearted for
There
sure.
wasn't stakes like there were Spider-Man or Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
What else we got? As
Even
far as
kind of like
story?
Spider-Man, bro, because Aunt May got fucking stabbed, and they had a little dialogue between that, and then she drops.
And she
You know what I
dies.
mean?
She actually dies.
No, she
That's
actually
important,
dies, but at
dude.
first she was like living a little bit. I was like, wait, did she just get hit by the glider?
Right.
But then she died. But then
Toby,
you got healing factors, so
but still hurt.
No,
that
that's
shit
still-
hurt.
he missed that before.
She got stabbed by
He
the
missed that
glider,
before.
and she got blown up on top of that.
Who did?
Aunt May.
Aunt May.
Ah.
She's done. No, she should have been cooked. Like, remember Obi-Wan talking to Anakin when he was getting cooked?
No,
Fucking May should have looked like that.
you know,
Right?
no, you know what should have happened to her, bro?
Crisp.
Remember Spider-Man 1, the Raimi Spider-Mans, when he threw the pumpkin bomb at those 3 old
they
dudes and they
disintegrated?
Yeah. That nigga should have just been talking to the skeleton. Cause damn. But yeah, the stakes in the movie were. You know
And
what I'm saying? So-
as far as the comedy with the inanimate objects, specifically the hammer and the
I liked it. I thought it was funny.
No, it's sure it hit
It was
sometimes,
funny,
but
it was
again,
funny.
it was too much. They just did it
It was
over
funny.
and over again. That's for me though.
I feel that.
Comedy's subjective,
I
but
feel that.
it was weird just having the whole love triangle between Jane
And the
Mjolnir
Mjolnir and Stormbreaker
and-
being fucking like.
Yeah, Stormbreaker was actually moody, like it had feelings, and he couldn't use it.
I
And
mean,
that's
it
what
is
they
funny
needed.
though. It is funny, but it was like.
Like when he was trying to call Mjolnir in like the city hall and fucking Stormbreaker just like floats into
Yeah,
his
that
hand.
shit,
like,
I thought
that
that was
shit's
funny. He was
funny.
like,
Yeah, that shit's
buddy,
funny as
I was
fuck.
just calling
Right,
you.
right.
But they did that thing another time the exact same way.
He was when they were like talking at the barrel and he like picked
Yeah,
up
and then
Mjolnir.
it just showed up
When
again.
she left with Mjolnir,
Yeah.
Stormbreaker came back and was like, "What's going on over here?"
Again. So yeah.
So yeah, but.
But that time, Stormbreaker did that on his own. Stormbreaker got up and floated to him on his own. He didn't summon him.
So it's got moves.
It's got a mind of its own. It can
Yeah.
physically get up and move itself when it wants to.
Somehow. Apparently, I have
Somehow.
a good. I have to have a good relationship with my weapon. I have to pour some drink on it every now and then.
Caress
clean
it
it
and
off,
shit. You see how he was
sleep
talking
with it
to?
type
You see
shit.
how he was talking to Mjolnir, bro?
Yeah.
They had a whole relationship.
You know what's
Yeah.
crazy about that,
Thousands
though?
of years. It's tough. It's a tough break.
But
bro.
so you know what's crazy about that? At the end, Stormbreaker had nothing, like no problem with him giving him to the daughter and Thor taking back Mjolnir.
Yeah. So what's up with that? I feel like the act should have been. Nah, I'm with Thor now.
Right.
Give
right,
her Mjolnir.
Right. So yeah, overall, that's how we feel about the movie.
Give it a 6 over here.
6, 7, 8.
And that's a council.
That's a Clutch City verdict, man. So like, subscribe. You know the vibes, man. Young Ramon in the zone.
King Raw.
BMP.
Clutch City signing out.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right. Bro, that should stop.
All right, we're good.
We're good.